Hello and welcome to Watching Worst Films, the podcast in which we watch every Razzie Picture winner. This year we are off to 2017 and the Emoji Movie. My name is Jericho Reed. I'm joined by...
Kyle, that's me. Hello.
And we also have a guest for the first time with one of our watch-alongs. We have Cieran McCusker, who, I can say this, Kyle, knowing that you won't take it as the insult it's intended as, is from the Beatles podcast to this Wings podcast.
Oh, that's
a
compliment.
So Cieran and I did a podcast in years gone by where we each watched we watched one half of a film and then the other one watched the other half, if that's a succinct summary. We covered the Emoji Movie for that. So between us, we had seen the entirety of the Emoji Movie. So this seemed like a lovely opportunity to get you on and inflict a horrendous torture on one of my dear friends.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure to have rewatched half of the Emoji Movie and then the remaining half.
Okay, so that's our background with this film. Kyle, you had not seen it.
I have not seen this. I knew about it. That's as far as it goes. I knew Patrick Stewart was the poop emoji. That's it. No more, no less.
Okay. Well, we'd seen... You saw the first half and I had seen the second half. Indeed. So, yeah, as we said, entire Emoji Movie between us. Do you have fond memories of it?
This screening was better than that screening because this one I didn't have to pay as much attention, and there were yous were all there, so we could kind of talk and joke and stuff. Whereas, very much seeing it in the cinema was quite a singular, traumatic experience. Just you in the movie.
I was thinking that, with the three of us, riffing on it and having a bit of a laugh at its expense, I couldn't actually imagine sitting in a theatre to watch half of it, never mind all the fucking thing. But good on yous.
Some people paid to watch all of this movie, Jericho.
I'm worried. I don't want to see it now because this viewing was far worse for me. I feel like that's an insult to both of your company. I was like, hey, I'm watching twice as much of it. It's not got the novelty. I think I like the sensory deprivation aspect of seeing it in the cinema, in that there was nothing else for me to look at. I had to focus. Whereas here, I was a bit antsy of I want to be doing this, I want to be on my phone. And I think the fact that, seeing... So you at least started with the familiar embrace of the first half before voyaging into waters unknown. Whereas I got all that out of the way, and then I was just like, oh God, I know where we are now. This is James Corden, and that was looming over. The second half was looming over.
Well, that's why I get the benefit of not seeing any of it. So at least it was a new experience for me. Not a good one, but new and fresh. No previous attachment was handy. So how well did this film do then, Jericho?
Okay, so on a budget of $50 million, how much do you think this made? This is a big production, Sony.
Okay, well, I'm going to say at least double.
Cieran?
Yeah, I've not looked at the figure that you've got in front of you, but I'm going to say about 100 or something. Yeah.
217.8 million.
Yeah. So
this movie made bank.
One of our most successful budget to box office returns we've watched so far.
I'm actually a little surprised that we didn't get an Emoji Movie 2 based off this.
Yeah.
Decent profit, yeah.
It was probably badly timed because the lead character is TJ Miller, and did he get hit by his accusations shortly after this?
Well, Me Too's around this time. Right? Yeah.
It's okay. Trump 2026. We're getting the Emoji Movie too. Don't you worry, and we're going to get into that.
Because the Secret Life of Pets probably came out around about then, and they recast Louis C.K. with Patton Oswalt, so they're probably like, Patton, listen, we need you for Emoji 2.
That's a risky gamble though, isn't it? Putting Patton in.
Okay, so as we have been doing in all of these, this was pirated because we're coming to you live from Kyle's new flat, which doesn't have internet, so we didn't even look to see if this is available on streaming.
And I've said it before, if it's post 2010, it's going to be pirated. I'm not searching for any of these.
I mean, I own the special edition Blu-ray, but nobody bothered to ask.
So this was pirated, and we got underway. So Emoji Movie, to set it up for you, if you have seen Inside Out or Wreck-It Ralph, you've seen the Emoji Movie. It's set within the world of a phone with apps, and every character is an emoji. And our lead is Gene, played by TJ Miller. And it starts off with voiceover. He's setting up Emojitopia, isn't he? And I was like, it took me a second to remember it was TJ Miller, but he's very like Ryan Reynolds adjacent, isn't he?
Picked up. I mean, some of the voice cameos or whatever I get right away. I would have never got that was TJ Miller. It's just a generic voice. It could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Unlike, James Corden, you can't really ignore, and it's gonna
The unmistakable tones.
He
Yeah.
makes himself impossible to ignore.
He commands attention. The singular talent of James Corden. So Gene is a meh emoji, which
He doesn't want to be a meh emoji though. He's got all these expressions deep inside him, and but in the emoji world, he has to conform and be what he was born to be.
Yeah, so the mechanics of the emoji world are very strange, aren't they? So it's kind of like they're like, we don't know how emojis reproduce, how they age, what their deal is. But he's a young emoji, and his parents are Mr. and Mrs. Meh, and they go to work in the emoji factory, where they're then scanned. Every time you use an emoji on your phone, it scans a little living creature and then sends an effigy of them out. And TJ Miller is like dying to go and work at the emoji factory.
I think every emoji wants to be used.
Yeah, we've got no neat emojis here. They're just like, I kind of just want to coast. I want to work on my screenplay. And Mr. and Mrs. Meh, like, what do they do?
Well,
Like, do they take turns?
I don't know.
What are their jobs? How are they contributing to society? Do they pay taxes?
Well, no, because the men have to use the male meh emoji, and the women have to use the female meh emoji.
But they're in Alex's phone.
Also,
So
if Alex
everyone
is
has
a
their
woman,
Yeah.
then he's never going to use
No.
the man meh emoji.
It's almost like women don't contribute to society and men are the primary earners. But, like, I don't understand, like, why he's got 3 meh emojis.
Well, like, you get, I don't know,
The child meh emoji.
Yeah, you
is
do
it?
get like different, like you'd get the old granny smiley face. I
So
guess,
Alex
or-
would never use the Mr. Meh emoji. He
that's
would
for the
always
boomers. The boomers
use-
would use Mr. Meh.
Okay, yeah.
And Mrs. Meh, but
Except the
young-
ones that still think they're cool.
We should have had that, a Mr. Meh emoji with sunglasses on for some reason. Yeah, so who's been filling in before Gene is ready?
Well, it'd be Mr. Meh, right? I mean, if he'd aged up.
Okay.
Well, time is so elastic in this emoji universe.
Yeah.
Like, is 1 year like 60 years for us? So like,
Yeah.
these emojis, because emojis can't last forever, guys.
No, that's it. Times have changed.
It's like Narnia. We're gonna return to the world of emojis, and Gene will be like dead, and his like great like grandchildren will be like, oh yeah, I remember Grandpa Gene.
I think
don't-
we were just trying to make this sound more like a Christopher Nolan movie, just to entertain us while the movie played. I think.
Thank you very much, Kieran. It's been good to have some support on the podcast in terms of taking movies and be like, oh, what if Paul Thomas Anderson directed this? What if Nolan directed this? What if Cronenberg directed this? So anyway, Gene's itching to get into the emoji factory and to be scanned, and his parents, who are played by Jennifer Coolidge and
Stephen Wright,
which
was my first mark out moment. Big Stephen Wright fan. He's one of my favourite comedians, and if I've got nothing else to take away from the film, I'm glad he got a paycheck. They are probably the most fitting. Maybe
For
not
sure.
Coolidge, but like they are fitting. I'm allowed to say this. I'm gonna be the contrarian.
Don't
today.
you dare this.
I'm not dissing her. I guess whatever. But they are probably the best or most suitable voice performances for an emoji, rather than being like a shock value Patrick Stewart or whatever. But yeah, that's his parents. They are not in it much, unfortunately. They try and dissuade him from going to the factory as well.
No, one of them, is it Jennifer Coolidge? Is like, oh, you're not ready.
No, it's the dad.
The dad.
Dad's like, because
One of them is like,
the dad, the dad knows something. Spoilers later. For the twist.
Of course.
He
yeah.
knows that he's bugged emoji or whatever.
He has a queer emoji.
Yeah.
That's it. Gene has a secret. which is that he's not just a meh emoji. He likes to make other faces. And so Jennifer Coolidge thinks he's ready for the emoji factory. She's ready for him to go. And his dad is like, oh, I don't know, son. Maybe give it another... It's Star Wars, isn't it? Like, Dad, Uncle Owen, I want to go after the academy. Just give it another few years, son. You're not ready yet. And then we kind of leap out into the world outside the phone with our protagonist, Alex, who is a teenage boy at school. Either you have anything to say about Alex?
That's about the entire character.
I was
Really.
going to say, he has a crush on a girl whose name I forget. And
Is she ever named? Girl.
I think she is.
I think she is, yeah.
I'm struggling to remember as well.
If you didn't tell, like, Jean, I didn't find out Jean was called Jean until an hour in, so... Addie. Yeah, so there's like... Fucking hell, you're gonna have to carry this a little bit, buddy.
Okay, no worries. So, in a little case of the film communicating with us, I was on my phone taking notes, and the movie said, "Okay, phone's down in 5,"
which was a good laugh. Like, because they know there's the bored parents in the audience, and the kids are going to be paying attention to the flashing colors and the emojis and all the stuff they can relate to. But I mean, it's an hour and a half for the parents to have some quiet time, I guess, and
it does seem very self-aware in that little classroom scene, because the teacher's like, phone's down in 5, you're probably not even listening to me, like, just, I'm going through the motions, I'm here to set up an external world, but this isn't what you're here for. You're here for Corden. We know why you came to the picture.
You're here for references for the adults who have brought their kids along, and also the small reference to Casablanca. Spoiler alert. So is that the two moments for adults in the film? Is that opening scene and then the Casablanca line? Is that all we've got, really?
Maybe some of the more risque,
the
like
Pirate Bay area, or where
Okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Bring it back.
So they're setting up Emojitopia, and one thing that surprised me, even though I knew it from having seen the film before, is how many licenses this film has.
Yeah.
So we're not in an iPhone, we're not in an Android, but we're in a phone which has Spotify, which has YouTube, which has Instagram. It has a number of licensed apps.
It does, and that was a surprise to me, because I didn't know this was Sony that did this. Yeah, I thought this was much cheaper, some no-name studio
like
with
with
knockoff, like Head Book or something, and all these.
This is redubbed from Turkish.
So that was a surprise, but that was not a good surprise, because then I know the onslaught of product placement, and I know what a Facebook is. I know what
it's really heavy, isn't
Instagram.
it?
Yeah,
it's like, we need to go on Spotify and listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. So Gene gets his big day in the emoji factory, and he kind of fucks it up, doesn't he? He makes a different face. He makes the wrong face.
He makes royally fucks it up.
Like 30 faces is one, and what's the boy called? Alex. Sends it to Abby. Yeah, God, I'm on fire here. Yeah. Addie, sorry.
Almost.
And she's disgusted that he sent her.
How dare you?
Well, we think it was an emoji. Just gonna leave it there.
And so, because of that, Maya Rudolph is the queen of Emoji Land, playing Smiler, who I'm just learning from the Wikipedia page.
She's the OG emoji.
She's the first one. You're right.
The first one that goes from emoticons to emojis. She's the pioneer.
A true change in the chapter of human history. That moment where we progressed from emoticons to emojis.
When man, and it was a man, painted an emoji on the wall of a cave. It was Maya Rudolph. He painted. Yeah, so Maya Rudolph is like, stop doing so many things, Gene. Emojis are meant to do one thing and one thing only, which, I don't know, all emojis are kind of open to interpretation, aren't they? I guess they do just do one thing, but there's a great deal of like poetic interpretation in emoji usage. But because of that, she's like, you are not welcome here. And then he gets sent to like the losers clubhouse. Is that right?
Yeah.
where he meets all the reject emojis.
The ones that don't get used or
Yeah.
not deleted, but are
No, they're just in the top shelf. I was like,
He's running away from the Toy Story Zurg-ish bots.
is that?
And that's when he crashes into James Corden in the Rejects Club.
Yeah,
because she wants to.
Because he gets kicked out of the club.
Yeah, so James Corden's trying to get into. There's like a
VIP
like
club.
this is a very. It's almost like a Bong Joon-ho film, and we've got a very stratified emoji society, where there's the top tier. There's the exclusive club of these are all the emojis that get used all the time. Poop emojis in there, like smilers in there,
The
like
Union Jack emojis.
the Union Jacks in there, good old butcher's aprons in there. No Ukraine flag in there, weirdly.
No Ukraine, no Palestine, none of that. None of that.
So Gene wants to be in there, and he stumbles across Pam, the hand emoji, played by our beloved James Corden. Pam is just like, he's just a regular hand, but he's got like a plaster on one finger, doesn't he? So
I think that was explained why, but I could not tell you what that is all about.
yeah, so this is where casting does a lot of the heavy lifting in there. Like, this guy's played by James Corden, so you're immediately gonna know like something's wrong. Like, he's not likable. Like, you're not gonna be like, oh, I wouldn't want to use that emoji if I had any alternative. But they're getting chased around by robots. Again, this is like maybe not a great reflection that 3 grown men couldn't follow a movie designed for children. But they get chased out of emoji land and they go on some adventure where they're going to get Gene reprogrammed.
Yes.
Which, just again with the queer reading of this film, which is the way, don't be the way you are, Gene, be the other way, repress who you are and fit in. That's the conversion camp.
Yeah,
he's
it
getting sent away to pray out the gay, isn't he?
Usually it reminds me of a Simpsons episode, but this one reminds me of the Futurama episode where Bender gets sent to learn how to bend again, and he escapes and goes off into the wilderness, meets friends, and I kind of thought we were just going to follow that exact storyline.
Yeah.
But no.
So, these notes rapidly tail off. So this is probably the point in which we started inventing our own movie, because we were like, Alex is a blank slate. What is he? Who is Alex? What are his interests? Because he has quite a diverse collection of apps and things. Like, he has Just Dance and like
Candy
Spotify,
Crush.
Candy
There's
Crush.
a lot of boomer apps, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
It's almost like this movie was written by someone a lot older than the character in the movie.
He goes on YouTube and he watches things that are clearly not YouTube videos. Like, they're stark white, like an Asian man dancing.
yeah.
on, like,
I mean,
Where is the porn? I'm just going to say, look, we're talking about a teenager here.
well, particularly when they escape Emojitopia and they go into like the piracy app.
yeah.
And
Jailbreak land.
Pam is like, we're going into the piracy app, and he's like, Gene's like, what? No, this is the book app. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, this is where Alex keeps all his stuff that he doesn't want his parents to see. And they go,
His bomb making manuals.
yeah,
Well, no, that's the Emoji Movie 2 storyline.
When that scene happens, that was probably another little wink for the parents in the crowd, because I think it's Gene that says like, oh, what would you want to hide from his parents?
Yeah.
And then Jailbait's like, oh, you
Notch up another wink to the adults.
Yeah. One teenage boy has things to hide. So they go into the piracy app, which is, you said it's like a kind of roadhouse bar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all kicking off in there.
It's the dive bar, and we get the trolls, we get the Trojan horses, we get the viruses, like COVID-19 circulating around there. They're sending snake emojis to Elizabeth Warren. They're like leaving abusive comments on videos about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Andrew Tate's circling around.
You're a virgin because you play PlayStation and I play the Xbox.
Yeah. So they're in this sort of little CD dive bar, and that is where they meet Jailbreak.
But before they do, you're going to want to call me out on this, Jericho.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. Otherwise,
To my shame.
Otherwise, this podcast is going to crumble, and in like 10 years, I will be on another podcast, and I'll bring you back in for a third time to address this thing which slipped away. There's a Scottish character in this movie.
There is a Scottish character.
Is this our first?
He gets one line.
Yeah.
Is this our first movie with a Scottish character?
I believe so. I'm trying to think.
Billy Connolly in Indecent Proposal.
Okay, yeah, that's a good check. I thought there was a Scottish robot.
I thought there might be a like,
Yeah.
oh hi, lady, transform, fucking carve your face in.
So no Scottish Transformers?
I was thinking there must be.
In
Yeah.
2, maybe in the one we watched, the Alki Merlin one, there might be. But in 2, I don't think there is. They're just the
No,
ghetto.
there's a nice representative. Who played the Scottish?
Oh, that is a question.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't.
Look at
I will be amazed if it's a Scottish actor. I
Oh,
will
it
be
wasn't.
amazed.
It was
We-
okay, fit like.
we don't. I can't see any names
No, it'll be
leaping
an
out at
extra
me
or
here.
something,
So yeah, it'll be.
So it's not a big cameo from the 3 Scotsmen that do get recycled through Hollywood. So.
No, it's not Robert Carlyle. So the bartender, or it's the band member. It's the band, isn't it?
The bartender is the Trojan horse,
The bartender's a Trojan
and then it
horse.
says,
Yeah.
"I know where to find a hacker." So
And there's the troll band playing Twisted Sister, and we're like, yes, what every teenage boy hides from his. Oh man, if my parents find out I'm listening to Twisted Sister,
They are really
I'm
going to
be...
rip the shit out of me.
And then I think the guitarist is like, "Oh, you like that? Hey, you want another one? You bunch of." But
no, we don't.
this is where they meet Jailbreak, played by Anna Faris, who is Cieran. Do you wanna deal with this? Jailbreak. He's a she, is what she's introduced with.
Is he
what
a
they're
she?
introduced
Is he a she?
passing the buck right over to you there.
I don't know if I've got the minerals to handle this.
Because in lieu of Alex being a blank slate, we were kind of like projecting our own things onto Alex. We're like, he's gonna be like a right wing chauvinist like we are. Surely that's what every teenage boy is like. Because the movie led us down this path. I know it might seem weird that we've come off it and we're just coming in hot, but the movie kind of led us down. So when you're in the emoji loser shed, they're all ethnic emojis.
Yes,
There's no two ways about it.
they are.
There's like black women.
Mexican cactus.
Yeah, there's black women, like, was she sushi or noodles or something? But she's like in the stereotypical, like, oh, ain't nobody got time for that. And then there's the Mexican cactus
And
that's
the
asleep.
troll, they comes along a lot later, but the trolls, I think, were definitely Jewish coded.
Oh,
Yeah, there's like an Italian guy at one point, isn't there? In like the piracy. Oh no! What are you doing, Eugene?
Yes.
But my God.
And as we were
he's-
saying, this movie must have been it came out in 2017, so
Yeah.
it must have been commissioned as soon as Donald J. Trump took office. It was his first act in the White House.
He is the most online president. If any president is going to make a movie about being on your phone, it
And
would
that's
have to
what
be
I'm
Trump.
saying. Emoji Movie 2027, Trump 2026. It's all coming back around, boys.
We got the wrong guest on this episode.
We also have the frog emojis, like Pepe. He's kind of in the background.
Pepe the Frog.
I was keeping my eyes peeled for like the OK sign and just various other like right wing dog whistles, because Alex, like, you identified it. You're like, he doesn't have any pride flags here, does he?
No pride flags, no trans flags.
No, there's no
Nothing.
non-binary emojis now. Like, you can get the non-binary genie and mermaid. none of
Yeah, and
that.
like we
Very-
get the two dads or the two mums.
Incredibly
and,
heteronormative is
The
the
only
world
ethnic
emoji.
emoji that I remember was popular was the dancing.
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
why was a young teenage boy using that emoji all the time?
Because he likes salsa dancing, Kyle. Me and Kieran are doing ironic racism, but seems like a very backwards attitude that a young teenage boy can't enjoy salsa dancing on a Tuesday evening. So, this was where also, Kieran, you took issue with the message of this film. Because
I
it's
did.
beating you over the head. Like, the journey isn't like, it's not like Wizard of Oz where we're going to become friends as we're like going along the journey or anything. There's no like journey for journey's sake. It's just like, We need to get you here so we can fix you and be one thing.
Yeah.
But it's trying to their journey before they get there. They're saying we need to fix you so that we rob you of all your emotions.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, don't do that and try and
Yeah.
have all the emotions. Yeah, I'm sure they put a lot of thought into the thematic consistency of this film.
Yeah, it just like it spends the entire film hitting you over the head with like you need to be one thing, and then right at the end it's like, actually, you know what, diversity is good, diversity is our strength.
That's spoiler for later on, but there's when Jailbreak's revealed to be
Meghan Markle.
yeah, Meghan Princess Emoji, she becomes at the end what she was born to be. She doesn't stay as Jailbreak. She ends up being the bloody princess. So the message for me was totally... The message I got was, if you reset your phone, you're going to holocaust every bloody sentient being of emojis in your phone. Like, I didn't understand any of the fucking messages, and I'm not a small child, and I don't know why, but like, it's beating you over the head, but it's so contradictive.
Yeah. I like to think that like they turned in the screenplay and they were just like and they're just like, actually no, hang on, this isn't a very good message to send to kids. Can you write in one scene at the end that just kind of says it's okay to be who you are? Like, sure, I guess. Sure,
It doesn't fit with anything else we've done. But, let's just put it in anyway.
I can have that one line. And I'll give Jean's father his Michael Stuhlbarg "Call Me by Your Emoji" moment, where they have their discussion by the fountain. So Jean's run away on his quest, and Mr. and Mrs. Meh are just kind of like, I don't understand why he would do this. Why would he? We gave him such a supporting environment. I don't understand why he turned out this way. And so Michael Stuhlbarg is like, well, I myself once experimented in my youth. I'm other emojis as well. And he does like a bunch of face. It's almost like the queer reading is the most apparent. Otherwise, it's kind of like Tourette's, like emoji Tourette's.
I mean, he can hide it.
Yeah.
You can't really hide it. I mean, this is confusing to me. This made me think, because then it clicked like, it takes two mehs to make a meh. So like,
there's no interracial reading in the emoji world.
You can't spell meh without me.
Yeah, so they have their weird moment where they're by a fountain. They're by Trevi Fountain.
It's meant to be like some sort of flashback to when Alex's family went to Paris.
Yeah,
because he deletes all the Paris photos when he's in the store, and so I think it's meant to be like the emojis transplanted into that human moment.
Yeah.
It's very Inception like, where they're just running in and out of apps, and how
No, you just wish it was.
No. Leonardo DiCaprio, when he's like taking Elliot Page through the like dream Paris and the mirrors filming, they're in a frozen in time sort of dream world Paris by the fountain, and they have their sort of like romantic moment. Where he reveals that he's meh. That he's not meh. He's multiple things. He's
fluid.
A plural, fluid emoji, and Jennifer Coolidge takes it very well, and
and then immediately files the divorce papers.
Or my marriage is a lie. So what does that mean? Do you like other emojis?
And that's when she goes off to become Stifler's mom. So this is actually a prequel to the American Pie series.
It's like a weird science thing. She somehow comes out of the phone and becomes a human being. Okay, and then basically this entire movie, we've been running around in circles, but basically this entire movie is a fairly linear quest to go and like send Jean to conversion camp. And in between, we get lots of scenes of product placement. So he goes into all the apps. He goes into YouTube. He goes into Candy Crush.
Candy Crush was the most insulting one to me. Like, just because it didn't need to literally drop the logo as well. Like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah, and it hangs there for 5 seconds.
It's
like Candy Crush.
Pause.
It's almost like an intermission of its own.
That's like a corporate required. Like, we want Candy Crush. It needs to fill 80% of the screen, and it needs to be there for at least 5 seconds.
But it is very apt, because like, this is the Candy Crush of movies. You know, it's colorful, mindless. Repetitive, you just sit there and...
The worst people in your life constantly send you invitations to play it. He gets caught up in Candy Crush, and they need to line him up with all the yellow things.
And before they do that, they kill him.
Well, that's it. They're like, there's no way to get you out of the Candy Crush wall, so we're going to need to match you up with the yellow things, and hopefully that's going to transfer you over to this jar.
And not pulverize
But it
you.
might. And this is where we get the Cronenberg scene that you like that, Kieran, didn't
That
you?
was the one bit
scanners,
that I
like-
said, yeah, a bit of exploding heads and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But this is, I have to bring us back even to the bar scene. This is not a G-rated movie.
Oh no!
Let's be honest here,
yeah.
gentlemen. This is at least a U. A lot of mild peril. I think it's a bit too much.
We get a noose. We get like
there is a news. Maya Rudolph's running about with like
a
these,
dental
like,
implement.
like sharp weapons. And
Yeah.
those robots. I mean, I got a bit scared at times.
There's all sorts of risky humor and innuendos.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, he's just there to make shit jokes, isn't he?
Literally, yeah.
Well, I don't think that's appropriate for a G-rated audience either. But BBFC, drop the ball.
So it's round about here that we changed over. So this was when we then entered the part of the movie that I have seen.
And I think we identified roughly the bit that got missed
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Before they get into the dancing
There's a weird sort of chamber
antechamber,
transitional,
before
yeah.
they go into that bit.
Which,
Yeah.
when me and Kieran were doing our podcast, we saw it in cinemas. So in the time it took one of us to leave the cinema and the other one to enter, there's always a little bit of like a minute or two that got missed. And in the
Don't
Emoji
think we
Movie,
missed anything amazing, particularly.
great space. It's just like
It's almost
it was designed
literally
for us.
It was a perfect changeover moment.
Because I
It's a
vaguely
perfect piss break moment. If you need to go now before we get to the flashy dancing scene. So yeah.
So entering the Emoji Movie blind as I did 5 years ago, that's an insane part to join it, where it's just a big Just Dance scene and they're being chased by the Zerg robots that are trying to put them down.
You walked straight in and it was George Michael.
Yeah, they're all
Blaring
dancing to Wake Me Up before you
speakers.
go. And then they dance to Christina Aguilera and Pitbull, I think. But I said to you, glaring by its absence is the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if any movie was made
And I
for the
think,
Black
you know,
Eyed
like-
Peas, it's this
And you
one.
think they're with Sony as well?
Well, yeah, exactly. It all makes sense. But then, and maybe in my head, I'm like, it's 2017, so the Black Eyed Peas aren't relevant. But then it's fucking Michael Jackson references and, you know, George Michael's playing.
Is Wham one for the adults as well? It must be like, yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot. Sorry, that was what I was going to mention. So that's where the Casablanca reference comes in. It's when Michael Stuhlbarg speaks to Jennifer Coolidge and he comes out to her and by their Parisian photo, where we should say, to emphasize that it is a photo, passers-by are sort of frozen in time. The fountain's frozen mid-fountaining. And he comes out to her and she's like, you know what, I love you no matter who you love. Love is love. Meh. And then he just says, well, we'll always have Paris, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, every...
Notch another one on the board
Yeah.
for the adults.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want as a parent. It's like, oh, great.
Oh, I get it.
Remember
Yeah.
this movie from 80 years ago that's a lot better than this one?
The most glaring one to me is Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2, which I have referenced on previous episodes. One of my most hated bad movies. That has a baby. I think it might even be. It has a CGI baby. I think it might even be the same line. It has a CGI baby quote.
There's only going to be
Casablanca.
4 lines you're going to use from Casablanca. though.
If that emoji leaves this phone and you're not on it, you're going to regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. Okay, and so they're in Just Dance and they freak out and Alex's phone starts playing music while he's in class. And
Starts playing
they
the
all,
app, yeah, the Just
yeah,
Dance
So embarrassing.
they all kind of mock him
So
because they're
embarrassing.
like, hey, look at you. Listening to Just Dance, I bet you go salsa dancing on Tuesdays. And he's like, that's it. You know what? I've had it up to here with Just Dance. And he deletes the app, which starts erasing everything. And is this the highlight of the film? Can I say this?
Yes.
Yeah.
James Corden gets deleted. We get our Avengers Endgame moment where James Corden just
The
gets...
first time he gets deleted.
Oh yeah, the second.
He does.
He gets deleted twice.
There's 2 highlights.
But somehow returns both times. This movie's fucking with us.
So James Corden, they escape the app and they're just like, hey, let's jailbait, and Jean are like, let's go on our quest. And then Jean's like, no, you know what, Pam's gone, we need to get
over it.
Pam.
Get over it.
And we were, all of us, just sort of pleading,
A sigh of
leave
relief.
him.
Because up until now, it was just I was counting Jericho's sighs, and there must have been at least 6 before this point. James Corden related sighs, and finally I think there was a collective sigh. He's gone, at least for now.
I love Cieran said, he was like, I know he's coming back, like I know in the world of the film they're not gonna kill off the comedic relief. I was hoping it was like a bing bong moment, but you were like, I know they're not going to kill him off. I know this isn't permanent.
But can we at least enjoy the minute, even when they're talking about going back to rescue him? At least he's not there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not hearing his voice for these 5-10 minutes.
That's it. When Jill Bates was like, leave him. He's in the trash. He's gone. You're just like, come on, listen to her, Jean.
And then this was a moment that stuck out for me. Is I remembered this from when I saw it all this 5 years ago. They go to the trash bin, and James Corden is sitting James Corden's sitting on like a mountain of other emojis, singing to himself, which is, nobody knows the touch screens I've seen.
So bad.
Nobody knows my screenshots.
Thank God nobody does know his screenshots. I don't even want to imagine what's in James Corden's screenshots.
Yeah, it's almost a threatening. So yeah, this just really is like this is like such a boomer film, because like what's kids gonna appreciate like a nobody knows the troubles I've seen parody.
Another one for the adults. Maybe this is more of an adult's film than a kid's film, really.
Yeah. And this is probably even too old to be like adults in 2017, because like realistically now it's probably going to be like people our age, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, thank God for that Casablanca. It's like made for Mr. Razzie, like, oh, I'm so glad they had that reference to like, I don't know, the Lucille Ball show or whatever. It's just all these archaic things. I was kind of speaking to both of you to be like, what would an Emoji Movie 2 look like now? And also this is just so damning of like how far we've fallen.
And we weren't even at a very high place in 2017, really, were we?
No.
I think we hypothesized that Alex is probably like a loner school shooter type.
Yeah, he's 3D
in 2023.
Yeah, he's on TikTok and he's getting banned from like social media.
He's raging that Andrew Tate's been caught.
Yeah.
And
listen, he's just speaking sense that they're threatened by masculinity. They don't want strong men. That's the issue here.
It's because obviously what we didn't see was that Addy immediately dumps him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That was left on the cutting room floor, and then after that, he was never the same.
Yeah, the
traumatic experience.
The Me Too movement happens, and he's like, you know what? Actually, like Harvey Weinstein's like, I don't think he did anything wrong. And then Addy breaks up with them, and he discovers Jordan Peterson. It's like, back up your ideas, kiddo. So yeah, I would like to see 2023 Emoji Movie where he's on TikTok, and
you would like to see it.
Yeah,
I would like to see it. I'd like to write it.
Ready.
If you write it, okay, I'll watch it.
Okay, so let's race towards the end now. Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter saves the day.
Twitter saves the day.
Daddy Musk
Free
is here.
So they're like, they need to get back to Emoji Central. That's what it is, I think. He decides to own his being diverse, being multiple things, being a multifaceted emoji.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we need to get you back to Emojitopia because Alex is fed up with his phone, so he's taking it to the non-brand Genius Bar.
Yeah, and Jean gets captured by the bots.
Oh, are they taking him back to be executed?
Yeah, and then James Corden's like, fuck, we can't let him get executed.
Oh yeah, James Corden's been rescued by this point.
Yeah. And then Jailbait takes off her hat, turns out to be a princess, summons Twitter, and they fly back. I believe that's what happened.
A South African accented emoji comes out, and it's like, come on, guys, to the moon.
I must butt in at this point and just realise that we've all lapsed into calling jailbreak jailbait.
Yeah.
And in case anyone listening is like, why the hell? What the fuck are they talking about? This goes back to Trading Places podcast.
Yeah,
where
we never
called
named
it
the
jailbait.
podcast. Yeah.
I have a point, and it's just because I see notes up, right? And I thought James Corden was called Palm.
He is.
It says here he's called High Five.
I know what? I'm pretty sure.
And so like,
Really?
but
No,
I'm
they
convinced.
I'm pretty sure they call it.
Yeah, like
Palm,
I'm
yeah.
pretty convinced we didn't just make that up. I'm sure they call them
No,
Palm.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Maybe his species is High Five.
Yeah,
but
maybe
his
in
name
the
is.
previous draft or something.
Let's say that we're not doing great with the names in this movie. I think we can all agree on that.
So Elon Musk takes him to the moon. We fly past like we fly past Alex's Bitcoin wallet where we see that he's made some bad investments in Dogecoin. We see he's not going to be able to afford to take Addy out on a date.
Well,
we
it's
see that he's
good investments for 2017.
yeah,
The
true
2023
actually.
version's going to be different.
And then they get back to Emoji Topia, where Alex is getting his phone reset, factory reset, hard reset. Emoji,
Everything gone.
Pressing
Emoji
a nuclear
genocide.
button.
Yeah. So the entire phone is getting erased. This is where we get our Avengers Endgame Corden dissolution. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Alex is deleting his phone because he's celibate. He's involuntary celibate and you can't get with Addy. We need to get them together and then he won't delete the phone. He'll finally have the use for all those dick pics that he's got stored. We've seen an email, a draft he wrote that he's never sent to her, so we know about his feelings that was in the trash. We've only got a second. What emoji are we gonna send to Addy? Do we send her?
This
do we
Justin
send her-
Roiland's emoji movie.
Listen, Kyle, okay. Justin Roiland was last week before we knew the revelations about him being.
Who could have seen it coming?
It's just like the kiss of death, isn't it? Everyone we speak about, like we spoke about the Queen, she died. We spoke about Justin Roiland. He turned out to be like a paedophile. We spoke about Bill Cosby, and I really hope nothing comes out about him.
No.
God
God forbid.
So like, do we send her like a skateboarding emoji? Skateboardings are kind of cool. Do we send her like a pizza emoji, like like a comma pizza, come ping pong? Do we send her like a sad face, a crying face? Do we send her a heart? And they're like, no, we send Gene. He's the one emoji that can represent the totality of our love. He's all of it. He's gonna
One
like...
emoji to rule them all.
And so they send Gene, who does his weird kind of like
He's every emoji.
sort of seizure.
Which would take away the jobs of every other emoji if you can do them all anyway. Render them all useless.
Yeah. Well, that's what Elon Musk's gonna do when he gets off the Twitter bird. He's gonna cut down and call the emojis. Be like, I don't think we need half of these. You're gonna be paying to use the premium emojis. You can get the loser emojis from the club for free. You can get all the like ethnic minority emojis, but if you want like any of the royal emojis, that's gonna be Emoji Blue subscription service. And so they send Gene to Addy, and she's like, huh? Wow.
Whose heart immediately turns to gold.
Yeah, well, this was a point, and again, just like I'm doomed to just be repeating the same things throughout my life, but I remember getting annoyed about this to you last time, she says, I like that you're one of these guys that can actually express his feelings. And I was like, so that's it these days? You can just send an emoji to a girl? Like, in my day, you had to listen to the Smiths or the Cure, or you had to send her like there is a light that never goes out in a DM. She'd be like, oh cool.
Well,
wow.
see, he did write that letter, but he went, oh, she's not going to read this.
She's illiterate.
How can I condense this into one emoji? And there we go.
So here we go, wrap it up.
Yeah.
It now exists for you. How convenient.
Okay, and so that's the end of the movie. Is we then get the mandatory like sort of Sony Pictures like
party scene where everyone's happy and the Union Jack is hanging out with the Israel flag because they're in the elite party.
Everyone's dancing in the club, and they're like, good news, the exclusive club is no longer exclusive. Everyone's in it. It's an open You know, Bong Joon-ho, forget him. Oh, we're all in one society.
Palestine flag, you can come in. Ukraine flag, you're in.
Yeah. So, end.
Except
Maya Rudolph gets her face smashed in.
Well, yeah,
and
yeah.
there's
a mid-credit scene where she's playing poker with a bunch of other emojis.
She's in the Losers Club.
In the Losers Club.
So the Loser Club still exists.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go to the non-exclusive, all-exclusive VIP one, you can still hang out in the Losers Club.
Yeah.
The library of the school,
Maya
if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nothing after that. I took the hit of watching the entire credits.
You still haven't seen the whole of this movie,
Confirmed there's
Jericho.
nothing else.
Kyle, if I've not seen the whole of this movie, you've not seen the whole of any of these other Razzie movies. I don't think that's a path you want to start going down. No. Okay, so that concludes our summary of the plot. Do you think this was emoji? Do you think this was emoji worthy? What emoji would you give this film?
Meh. I think it's very suited for it.
Like a meh that can be everything.
This
movie is like the entirety of life. It's
Coolidge
like the tree of
one.
life.
She's the only one that can't change out of the Meh family, so I'm gonna go with Mrs. Meh. My last thoughts. I said it before. It's not as disgusting to look at as I expected. I didn't remember it was Sony. I didn't know that. I expected it to be total cheap, so it was glossier and shinier than I expected. Happy to see Stephen Wright, and if you take out the dance credits, whatever, it's barely 79 minutes. It's barely a feature.
1 hour 17, I think, is when the credits come up.
Like that's my thoughts. That's it.
Okay, Kieran, you're not as well versed in the Razzies as me and Kyle are. Do you think this was the worst picture of the year?
Of all the films of 2017 that I must have watched, it probably must be the worst. I can't imagine there was anything worse that I've watched.
I'm holding my opinion until we come to the Razzies, because there might be something I forgot about that'll come up. But yeah, this is quite an obvious winner.
This is the only ever animated
which
worst
is
picture winner.
a joke, because there's so many that I talk about, Tom and Jerry movie and stuff like that, and it never won a Razzie. But yeah, I really can't argue. It's cynical. It's,
It's written by a boomer. It's
written by
out
a
of
boomer.
touch. It's racist.
So I thought Mr. Razzie would have loved it, but no, it deserves it.
He was probably too much of a boomer. He was like, I don't
got
understand.
all the
This
references.
is Just Dance.
Get back to the Casablanca.
Okay, so I 100% think this is Razzie worthy. We had a little debate about where this fell in the rankings. This was almost like Transformers was worse because it was longer.
Yeah.
But this was just like, I had some respect for Transformers, whereas this was just so corporate and like stale and sterile. It's
Transformers didn't have James Corden in it either,
True.
Well, there's bonus points already.
But it's near the bottom for me, if not dead bottom. It's definitely only Transformers being 17 hours long is the only reason we put this above it.
The feature we always do, Kieran, is the smallest change you can make to make the biggest difference to improve this film. What do you have? We can always go before throwing you on the spot. Yeah. But
Adam Sandler replaces James Corden.
there we go. I would.
Yeah.
This might be one of my favorite films if that was the case.
Replacing Corden by anyone, to be honest, and it doesn't even have to be someone good, would have made me so miserable when he was on screen or talking. You could have probably trimmed another 5 minutes off.
We're just going to shave this down until it's like a short 3 minutes long. I'm like, perfect. What a picture.
Corden's definitely the biggest thing.
For me, so the sort of mid-credit scene in Inside Out, we get to see inside. So Inside Out follows Riley, and then we get to see inside a bunch of other people and see what their like sort of emotions are like. And they're like, oh, some people like anger's in control, some people like sadness is in control, whatever. And the ears are their little creatures, doodads look like. I wanted more of that maybe interspersed. I wanted to see inside other people's phones. I wanted to see I wanted to check the hard drive.
I think you only think you want to see inside other people's phones. I'm not sure you
Hunter
do.
Biden's phone.
I want to see inside a boomer where they're just accidentally sending people who think the I'm sure you've heard of the boomer thing of thinking the crying laughing emoji is crying.
Yeah.
So people have been like, oh, like my mum died, and I just get like the crying laughing emoji from a boomer relative. I want to see that. I want like the emojis in a boomer's phone. It's like, no, don't send me, send me crying. What? No, tough, you're going. I want a little bit more like that. Yeah, I want Hillary Clinton's phones. I want her emails. And yeah, that would fundamentally be my pitch. Is just a little bit more sort of like window dressing of like little side comedic bits. I just want this movie to be kind of funny, I guess.
Is it really too much to ask?
Okay, so the awards that the Emoji Movie racked up. Tony Leondis won Worst Director, which completely valid.
Completely valid. I mean, it's hard sometimes because it's an animated movie. I don't understand maybe how much direction is in this.
Do you think he was just filming the emojis inside the phone? He just put the camera inside someone's phone and let them do their
Well,
work?
in terms of like, and you could animate this and go along, you know, just make it up as you go along. I don't know, but I guess it is warranted, yeah.
And then I think this is pretty controversial. There are no acting nominations.
That's it.
When I would say anyone.
That's
All of them.
T.J. Miller, James Corden, and Anna Faris in particular, the main three,
Yeah.
are absolutely deserve like winning. It's one of like the blandest, most phoned in performances ever.
Even Patrick Stewart is like I'm here for my paycheck.
Yes, and we said it before. Yeah, Coolidge and Stephen Wright are the only two.
Yeah.
Two out of the entire cast. Aguilera even isn't anything. Like, you don't make the use of any of your cameos. They're all zoomed in. You know, like they're more egregious for me. They should have been winners, and I would have understood it. The director not winning it maybe, but them definitely.
And then it won Worst Screen Combo, any two obnoxious emojis.
I mean, fair. I would actually say Gene and Palm, or whatever the fuck he was called.
Yeah.
They would have been the main two. Yeah, they would have been the main two. Because any two obnoxious emojis, I'm not going to count because, again, Stephen Wright and Coolidge were fine together.
You
so.
stan them, do you?
Yeah, they were fine. I stand Stephen Wright. Give him. He deserves his paycheck. It's been a long time since Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. And then it won Worst Screenplay, Tony Leondis, Eric Siegel, and Mike White. So it said based on the trend of emojis.
Trend.
So Mike White, obviously, everyone loves him with White Lotus, and that's the Jennifer Coolidge connection. This screenplay was diabolical.
I don't even, again, what I'm saying with the dread, I don't imagine there is much of a screenplay here.
Yeah.
This is just like us running down it when we were going recapping it.
Yeah.
It's things happen.
Yeah.
They'll pop in some product placements. They'll go to Candy Crush Land. Wrap up quick. The end. There's three writers, but I imagine Mike White made it coherent, and the rest were just chucking ideas about.
No, I think we saw. I think Tony Leondis and Eric Siegel, I think they might be credited for story as well. So it struck me as they wrote a screenplay and they're like, oh Christ, this isn't very funny. Let's get the guy from School of Rock to write a couple gags.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it probably existed and he did a pass on it.
Yep.
Maybe it was his brainchild, in which case.
Well, then they're all to blame then. Yeah.
And then this is another weird category they introduced that didn't really take off. The Razzie nominee, So Rotten You Loved It, it was nominated for that. Which is fucking madness.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you don't fucking love it. And that's defeats the purpose of the Razzies. If it's so bad it's good, then it's not a Razzie fucking winner.
well, we've spoken about so many of them where we're like, oh, this is fun in like an ironic way, like a fun and watch with friends way, whatever. Like, this has got some redeeming merits. But the Emoji Movie is just so hateful and cynical and soulless.
Yeah.
It's like, if your friend suggests, let's put on the Emoji Movie to have a good time, find a new friend.
Yes.
And so, that concludes the nominations for the Emoji Movie.
Surprisingly little.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what deserved the awards and nominations over it, to be honest.
Yeah, so join us in the second half when we'll be going over the other award winners and nominees for 2017.
Absolutely. See you soon.
Welcome to the middle section of the podcast, which we know as the any other business / correspondence section. So we had our prediction prediction episode. And then we had our Darren Doan interview, and we didn't want to interrupt that with our nonsense right in the middle. So this has kind of been our first opportunity to speak about the predictions and the reactions to that. You'll remember that the Razzies nominated Ryan Kiera Armstrong for Worst Actress in Firestarter, who we identified as 12 years old. I don't want to say we're pioneers, but I like to think the criticism began with us.
That's it, exactly.
We published our episode.
We were
in
the stone that got
matter of hours. The Razzies had taken it back. So the Razzies have withdrawn Ryan's award with the following statement: "Sometimes you do things without thinking. Then you are
Jesus Christ.
Sometimes you make up a really mean-spirited awards ceremony that runs for 40 years and you just never really think what you're doing. Then you're called out for it. Then you get it. It's why the Razzies were created in the first place. As if this has never happened. As if it doesn't happen every single fucking year.
Yeah.
Like
we've talked about it
We've
before,
talked about
yeah.
it in the 80s, they're nominating kids. We've talked about it with the Jake Lloyd being like that being a big part of the bandwagon against him. But anyway, we'll try and
Contain yourself.
The recent valid criticism of the choice. The recent valid? Really? Oh, that's
Recent.
generous.
No. Just recently. All the other child actors could get fucked according to him, but the recent ones are valid.
The recent valid criticism of the choice of 11-year-old Armstrong as a nominee for one of our awards brought our attention to how insensitive we've been in this instance. As a result, we have removed Armstrong's name from the final ballot that our members will cast next month. We also believe a public apology is owed Miss Armstrong and wish to say we regret any hurt she experienced as a result of our choices. Having learned from this lesson, we'd also like to announce that from this point forward, we are adopting a voting guideline precluding any performer or filmmaker under 18 years of age from being considered for our awards. We've never intended to bury anyone's career. It is why our Redeemer Award was created. We all make mistakes, very much us included. Since our motto is Own Your Bad, we realise that we ourselves must also live up to it. Sincerely, Mr. Razzie, the Razzie Awards. Okay.
Fucking hell. He's going to give himself the Redeemer Award. Jesus.
So reading that out loud made me think of it a little bit more when I just glossed over it. And I'll give him a little bit of credit in that it's not quite as bad as I first thought. Like, they do publicly apologise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like, but still, it doesn't really acknowledge the larger issue, which, like, what are you apologising for?
Exactly. And the recent part of it, the recent valid criticism.
Yeah.
You're, what we've said, skipping over the 40 years where you've been dunking on children.
Yeah.
Some of the lines in it as well, you know, we never tended to bury anyone's career.
Yeah.
How many of times have we, you know, all our specials with Stallone and stuff, and you've got personal vendettas, and I will nominate.
Okay, come on. We're meant Stallone's fine. He can dig. He's a big,
yeah,
strong, roided out man.
But the hypocrisy of just being like, we don't bury careers. This is what he does. He will absolutely single out. I'm just using Stallone as an example.
No, I get what he's saying in terms of, like, it's fine. Stallone's like gigantic egos in their mansions, whatever. But like a child who's just starting out, like. Whatever you say about Stallone,
but we have never intended.
It's going to bounce off him. But a child,
this is what
you
saying.
can.
We have never intended to bury anyone's career. It's why our Redeemer Award. And
that's fucking nonsense.
That's the point. I'm saying, like, when you take at that point, he's
just plugging the awards ceremony again. It's like, tune in.
He's not talking about like all these nominations where he's been, you know, having hit pieces on kids basically. In the whole, he's saying we never intended to bury anyone's career in general. And again, not even just Stallone, he does this before because he is a vindictive little shit.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, then he plugs it. We all make mistakes, including us. Oh, we're all humans. But you're not going to win a fucking Razzie and ruin your career, are you? Because you don't have one.
It's just, it's a very tone-deaf statement where it's very much like, oh, well, we're sorry you feel that way, apology. Like he doesn't, from reading this, it doesn't really seem to understand what he did wrong, and there's no apologies to be like, there's no understanding of that sort of like artist mindset of like, it's vulnerable to be creating something, and when you're a child particularly, you don't have any, like, she doesn't have any ownership over Firestarter. She's not done this, like, before, I'm gonna say, but like it's like there's no understanding of how it's like it's holding you personally responsible, and you're just seeing your name everywhere. When as a kid, you're just like, oh well, I just ended up like whirlwind, here I am, and now all of a sudden some boomers telling everyone I suck in front of the entire world. So he just doesn't seem to understand, like, we're sorry for, like, essentially bullying you. Which we need more severe language here of, like, to acknowledge, like, what we did was wrong. We shouldn't be, like, punching down on people. It's fine to be nominating, like, gigantic egos, but, like, children should be...
People do, like, I'm not saying Stone should never be nominated. I'm not going to stand on that. I'm saying... Of course people should be, but the mean-spiritedness takes away from... You either have Razzies be really fun and have it like this light-hearted, you know, CGI wins awards and stuff, or you try and do it genuinely, where it's like based off the like categories of cinematography, sound effects, acting ability, direction, screenplay, etc. Like you either do it sincerely with your own rules and criteria that make sense, that are the mirror of the Oscars, you have fun, or you become this vindictive bully where you just pick on people and because you're nobody and you're hack. Like
well, yeah, that's what I want to say is like he like, and we kind of got a little bit of a taste of this last year when they withdrew when they were eventually pushed into withdrawing the Bruce Willis thing, and then they had the Shelley Duvall thing. Is they want to have their cake and eat it too, of their you either need to like stick by your guns or you need to be sort of compassionate and understanding, and they're wavering between the two, where they don't want to acknowledge that they were wrong, but they also want people not to yell at them 100%. And to like them.
You can 100%, you know, like, and even the Bruce Willis one, I don't think we've really talked about before.
No.
None of those films were eligible. Yeah. They were all straight to trash.
Okay,
like,
Kyle, that's not the issue here.
No, I know, no.
How dare they nominate this
I'm
man
not
with aphasia for a directed ET?
Like, but you didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
You did not know that. You know, people, there were suspicions.
No, they did. Like,
did he know?
I like I said, I'd seen tweets and people saying like he's been acting weird and like needs to be guided to set. Like, and again, I always use myself a barometer of like, if someone in like rural Scotland is aware of rumors that Bruce Willis isn't right, everyone
a lot of blame here as well.
Connected to the industry will be aware.
Yeah, okay, and then the people that are making those films should be a bit ashamed of themselves.
We're exploiting an old man.
Yeah, just to get him on the DVD cover and feed these lines to him through an earpiece, like 100%. But like, you go out your way to go and dunk on those as well. Like that's the vindictive part as well, because you're trying to get those clickbaits. That Bruce Willis has his own category and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's bullying. That's shit. You can't do that. Like that's what I was saying before. You either do it in such a lighthearted, non-mean-spirited way, or you do it genuine, seriously, with real rules and criteria and eligibility and what you should be able to be in here. Yeah. You can't have the best of both worlds and then be a little shit and be horrible about it.
I think if you truly mean this, if you sincerely believe and want to reform, like it's the own your bad thing. Yeah. Our motto is own your bad, and we realise that ourselves must also live up to it. But you're not really owning it.
No.
You're just recognising, I recognise that people have got annoyed at us, as opposed to, we recognise that we've done quite a fundamentally cruel thing. And going forward, we want to become like a celebration that people can enjoy. We don't want to exclude anyone or like be punching down at people. We want this to be like a sort of celebration of bad cinema, as opposed to a ridicule freak show where we all point and laugh 100%. At a child.
I like these annual statements now, though. I think these are getting fun. Like,
we'll predict them for our next Razzie special. Be like, okay, what are they going to have to walk back? But the representation of all of this is if you look on their social media and you see their response to that, the ultimate wanting to have your cake. So they released their statement where they retracted her nomination, and then Macaulay Culkin jumped in on them. And
God bless you, Macaulay. If you're one ever on, come and talk about some of your films.
Come and talk about the Pizza Underground.
Yeah.
And he said, I guess it was much easier to make fun on kids back in 1995. And some girl actually, Rebecca, a bunch of numbers, calls him a snowflake. And then chain of tweets, and then the Razzies say like, "We get it."
Oh, we're
which that smug's like, well, no, you very much don't get it, because the entire world was screaming at you 2 days ago. because you apparently hadn't thought that nominating a 12-year-old would be. And it's just that sort of thing where they do have like an incredible amount of pride despite being forced into this humiliating come down.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you should be like contrite and not like, listen, we get it, okay. Nominating children is wrong. Truly, we get it. It's like, well, why have you been doing this for 4 decades and why have you only just stopped now?
That's Macaulay's point, isn't it? And that's the nail on the head. If it didn't make a difference in 1995, you know, or the 80s, or from day fucking one. So no, absolutely not.
And then they just say like, oh, well, we happen to agree with the comments, and it's just like it's like the Razzies making themselves up to be like this big academy that sort of like have like a schism where some of them are in favour of nominating 12-year-olds and some of them aren't, and it's like oh well, I don't know, I'm a bit on the fence. Of like, well, if you agree with the comments, if you are in any way unsure, don't do it. Like if you have any inkling, 100%. Just don't do it.
I want Culkin to collect his word now, just so he can give a good speech. You know, I want him to what, the $4.95 or something was a joke they cost.
Yeah.
I would take some money away from Mr. Razzie. You know, this is why I want everyone to get their Razzie awards. I want to bankrupt this fucker. Eh? I want them handing them out like they're candy, and not just to Halle Berry or whoever.
While we're just covering our reaction to the awards, then we do have a comment from Kelly who says, between no worst actor nom for Don't Worry Darling and no worst sequel nom for After Ever Happy, I'm starting to think Mr. Razzie is a Harry Styles stan.
Yeah.
Which she could be onto something. Because you know the After, that's the Harry Styles fanfic.
Okay, I've not seen it. I don't know.
You're not a Harry Styles fan.
I know 2 songs and that's it. I'm really, and he's in Dunkirk.
I think we could be onto something here. He's a simp for Ana de Armas, and he's a stan of Harry Styles because
he doesn't want to prod that beehive though with the fan club and stuff. You know, it's like.
Can you imagine if he was like nominated like BTS for
like
worst original songs?
Yeah, like he would be.
That would be the end of the
Razzies.
Razzies.
He would be done. Like, he knows not to poke the hornet's nest or whatever. He knows. he knows that this is it. You've got the awareness of this as well. Like, this is not a good idea because I will be slaughtered for this. Me will be humiliated and bullied. So fuck it, let's just pick on kids.
Yeah, he might have gone for Harry Styles back in the One Direction tour documentary days, but now that he's like now in this sort of like Stan era, no, Mr. Razzie knows to steer clear. Welcome back to part 2, where we're going to be going over all of the other emoji also rants. Why do I keep saying emoji? All the other Razzie also rants. So, worst picture, we have Baywatch. Have you seen Baywatch?
I have not seen Baywatch. That's The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Again, we're in dark territory for me. It'll be surprising if I've seen more than 1 or 2 of these films, so I have nothing to comment about Baywatch. Have you seen it? I
have seen Baywatch. In fact, I have seen almost every one of these nominees.
Oh, okay. God bless you. When we go back to 1985, I'll take over again. But
so I've just noticed Ivan Reitman was credited as one of the producers of Baywatch.
Okay. I mean, that's probably just he's not on, that's a Scorsese on Joker, isn't it? Like a name only.
Yeah, Baywatch isn't good. I think they were desperately trying to do a 21 Jump Street kind of thing, but they just flubbed it, and it's not good tonally. It's a bit weird. I'm sure like someone gets pissed on. It's like got scatological humor, and it's just not. I didn't much care for it.
That's fair.
50 Shades Darker.
Is that the second or the third one?
I believe that is the second. I think Freed is the final one.
Well, again, I wouldn't have watched the first one if it wasn't for the Razzies, but no interest. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched them all in lockdown, and I kind of like the first one. The first one has merits in being like a sort of self-contained thing.
Yeah.
They begin to get like I think the second 2 are crap, because that's when you get stuff like gunfights and car chases.
They're stupider and cheaper.
Absolutely.
That's the E.L. James takeover as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So Sam Taylor Wood's gone, and we've now got James Foley in the director's chair, and there's stuff like it's kind of similar to what we pitched if we wanted the League of Evil X's of like people suing him and things. You do meet like previous women he was with, and like Mrs. Robinson's in it, and it just gets a bit too bogged down in the lore of 50 Shades, which I don't much care for. so it's worse than the original.
Fair.
But nowhere near as bad as the Emoji Movie. Then we have The Mummy. Have you seen The Mummy?
I have not. The famous Universal Monsters cinematic
you
universe.
don't remember the Start of the Dark universe,
Yeah,
Kyle?
yeah,
Remember that beloved cinematic universe that we all adore?
I had no interest. I mean, I like the Brendan Fraser mummies, which you recently
I saw it.
revisited,
I
yeah.
saw it with Brendan himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just no interest. It didn't even look funny or any appealing way to me. Nothing for me.
I can't remember why I watched it, because from the trailer, I didn't see it in the cinema, and yeah, if I miss something in the cinema, I probably won't revisit it, but for some reason I did with The Mummy, and it's really confused. It's like, why is it a Mission Impossible movie?
Well, look, I remember that. I remember it from the trailer that got leaked, without the finished sign.
Yeah.
That's the only kind of thing I know about this film. And I remember that in the plane, and you could have told me that was Mission Impossible 10 or something. But if I want to watch Mission Impossible, I'll watch Mission Impossible. So yeah, no interest.
And then, so I've seen 4.5 of these nominees. Unfortunately, Cieran had to go to attend a meeting about saving Aberdeen's art house cinema. But we also covered this nominee, Transformers: The Last Night, on our podcast. So I think I have seen the first half of Transformers:
what number is
Last
this?
Night.
Who is it? This is past Shia. Yeah.
This is Marky Mark.
This is Mark time. Okay.
And this is better than Revenge of the Fallen for sure, because it's fully just off in cuckoo land. We've got dinosaurs. We've got like Anthony Hopkins is in it as Alki Merlin. This is like it kind of gets back on track, I would say. So Michael Bay's had his bite of the Raspberry Pi, and it's nowhere near as bad
Even
as
looking
Emoji.
at these nominations, I'd rather watch any of these other four than watch Emoji Movie again, even including Transformers Last Night, because it can't be worse than Revenge of the Fallen. I think that's a clear winner there, so fair.
Worst director. So, as we covered, Tony Leondis was the winner. We have Darren Aronofsky for Mother.
Which is finally a film I have seen, and I love Mother. I love Aronofsky.
Yeah.
I think it's well directed. I love Aronofsky with an asterisk there because of fucking Noah. But
I thought I was the asterisk. I thought you were kind of more slightly positive on Noah.
I mean, no, Noah is one of my biggest disappointments in cinema.
Yeah.
Because it's coming off, I think The Wrestler's before it, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Black Swan.
Black Swan,
Yeah. So Wrestler, Black Swan, he's 100% my boy. I'm ready to watch anything you do. When you're going to do a big biblical epic with a stupid budget, you've got my interest because that's what I want to do. Yeah. And the fact it is so low energy compared to what it should be.
It's just Transformers.
It
makes
is,
a Transformers
yeah.
movie with his Rockman
and I don't mind the Fallen Angels rock, but it's not whatever. It's such a big disappointment for me. But anyway, that's not the point. I love his direction on Mother. I love Mother. I would not have him anywhere near this. This is a weird punch down for me. Yeah, I 100% disagree with this one.
Yeah, same. He was one of my favorite directors, and I saw Noah and had like a big crisis of faith where I hate Noah with a passion.
It was your growing up, like you're the Aronofsky and Nolan.
Yeah.
I was a Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, exactly.
Shows a nice contrast as well.
Yeah. And he won me back with Mother, so that's a testament to how good Mother is.
Yeah.
So he doesn't deserve this. I just think Mr. Rassi's a hack with artistic vision.
He can fucking do Mother, could he?
Then we have Michael Bay, Transformers: The Last Night. So Michael Bay making his return to the
annual
Razzies here.
appearance,
Yeah, not winning this time, but nomination just because Michael Bay's made a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
Just like a very pedestrian, safe, boring nomination. And then we have James Foley for 50 Shades Darker. So he was the guy who made Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay.
And it's hard to say, like, this year is just a bit like a shoulder shrug of a year.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just kind of like, yeah. Like, 50
There's a lot
Shades
of
Darker.
There's a lot of Mr. and Mrs. Meh films here, isn't there?
It's like he made the film that he made. Like, it's no... Like, I don't
And again, with E.L. James over his shoulder, like, you can't really have much artistic vision for a film that's not yours, that is a sequel, that it has the writer, author over your, like, shadowed producing or directing or whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
So I would let him off without even seeing the film, just based on that alone.
Yeah. And then Alex Kurtzman, The Mummy. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah, you know my feelings on Alex Kurtzman and
Okay, moving on.
I'm glad to see him nominated just because I fucking hate him. So we'll have this when we get to Star Trek, and I'll moan and rant, and we'll have a 9-hour episode.
I was gonna say, I was like, Kyle, this isn't gonna be an episode on the entire history of Star Trek.
It will be.
Worst actor: Mark Wahlberg, Daddy's Home 2, and Transformers: The Last Night as Dusty Mayron and Cade Yeager.
Cade Yeager. It's a good. We haven't had a good name in a while, have we?
No.
Oh, Cade, that could be a Seagal character.
Yeah.
I've not seen Daddy's Home 2 either, so I'm gonna have to skip my opinion on that. How's Wahlberg?
He's fine. Like,
Meh.
you know me. He's meh. Exactly. We're just so meh. I don't know if it's something about like the recording of this where Kieran's left or whatever, or if it is just the film, but I'm finding a tail off with energy where I'm like, they're all just meh.
Yeah.
Like Mark Wahlberg, this doesn't register on his scale of like bad performances, and Transformers, he's just running around being a physical body. Yeah, no real thoughts. Mm-hmm. Zac Efron in Baywatch as Matt Brody.
Meh again, is it?
Kind of meh. He's kind of bad.
Yeah.
He's kind of bad. He's just... It's like a not funny movie, and it's like a not funny performance, so he's maybe the closest to like actively bad.
Okay.
And then we have Jamie Dornan in 50 Shades Darker as Christian Grey. So I think it might also be that we're recording this on the day that the Razzie nominations come out. So I'm struggling to get worked up about it, I guess. I'm keeping the powder dry. But like, without seeing it again recently and seeing him do his weird like Patrick Bateman thing, I'm just like, it's a sequel. He's gonna be doing the same performance.
That's just what I was gonna say. I couldn't imagine it being any different really than the first. Maybe a bit lower energy again, because it's not maybe that he realizes he's clicked into a trilogy at this point and there's no way out. Maybe a phone-in performance, but
he opens up a little bit more with like, did I ever tell you, Anna, I was molested by Mrs. Robinson?
But that's it. You could have more chance to ham it up a bit as well.
Yeah.
Like you could. I don't know.
Yeah.
No comment from me.
Yeah, I can't remember it well enough to get that worked up about it. On the other hand, Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales as Captain Jack Sparrow. So this is...
You're going to have to tell me what number this is.
Okay, I genuinely don't know.
It's either 4 or 5.
Yeah, Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, World's End. I think Stranger Tides is 4. Okay. Dead Men Tell No Tales 5, Salazar's Revenge 6. They made 6 of these.
Jesus Christ.
But 4 or 5, I think I checked out.
Yeah, I had checked out. I mean, I'd seen 4, I believe.
I think 4 is Penelope Cruz, Stranger Tides. I think
I've seen that, but I can't remember much about it. So I can't really comment, but I assume it's just the same Captain Jack Sparrow, maybe just turned up a little bit more to the caricature that he becomes.
Yeah, I am fine with this being a nomination, because by this point the charm of Jack Sparrow has all but worn off.
You'd think that, but then they make another 2 fucking films, don't they?
No, I think just one, especially if we're going off 2017.
Oh, okay.
The timings would work out that there would be one between... Yeah.
Okay.
This is 5. And I think it's just like, he's a supporting character. He needs to be anchored around like the Orlando Bloom, when you just have him doing wacky kooky stuff.
Yeah, it does get work. Yeah, I agree with that.
A little Jack goes a long way. And Johnny Depp, another unproblematic character that we're covering on the podcast. Nothing to say about his pastimes.
Not guilty.
And then the winner, Tom Cruise, The Mummy as Nick Morton. So, yeah, he's bad. Don't cast Tom Cruise as the Mummy. He's miscast. And he's playing Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, surely it could be in The Mummy as Ethan Hunt, because when it's not Mission Impossible or something he's invested in, like Top Gun, or personally he wants to do it, he is just going to... Was it the Jack Reacher one he was in as well?
Yeah.
Like that is just Ethan Hunt, but shitter. So I get it. It's not going to be a cocktail performance here.
No, it's not going to be a Lestat. Yeah.
He's racking up the Razzies now, though, isn't he? When you think, as we're going through this, maybe not all worst actors, but if you include Interview with the Vampire and all these other ones, he's He's taking them home. He could have a collection.
Yeah, well, I told you that's why I think he's gonna get the Redeemer for
Yeah.
Maverick, is because this was probably his most recent thing was probably winning
100%.
worst actor. Worst actress, we have Emma Watson in The Circle as May Holland. Have you seen that?
What is The Circle? I feel like
It's Tom Hanks one.
no.
It's is it like a cult thing, or it's like a Dave Eggers novel? I haven't seen it. I think it might be a Netflix movie.
Okay.
I may also be completely wrong. I might have made this up. This might be the weird horror movie she's in, but we don't have internet, so
I mean,
flying blind.
Flying blind. I'm not the biggest fan of Emma Watson.
Yeah, she's
Noah
not
is a
good,
good
yeah.
example of just terrible. So I'm gonna say maybe that nomination's at least deserved.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't disagree. Jennifer Lawrence in Mother as Mother.
Which is a huge no-no for me. I wasn't a Jennifer Lawrence fan. I hadn't seen The Hunger Games or anything really other than just what I knew through pop culture. But I loved her in Mother. Like, she genuinely won me round. It was a great performance, a really good performance. Mighty surprised to see her here, and would take her away right away.
Again, nothing else to say except Mr. Razzie's a hack, because she's good and she carries that film.
She does.
So then we have Dakota Johnson, 50 Shades Darker, as Anastasia Anna Steele. She's fine.
Same
Again,
as Jamie
same
Dornan,
thing.
yeah.
Performance 2 in a trilogy. Once you've kind of got your mileage out of them first time round, I don't understand how they can turn it around and deliver a completely different performance. And I think she's slightly better than him, so yeah, no, disagree with that. Katherine Heigl in Unforgettable as Tessa Conover.
I've not seen that. Have you seen that?
I think I have seen Unforgettable.
I forgot it though.
Yeah, exactly. I've forgotten it. It's a weird, like, thriller, almost like Basic Instinct-y kind of. It's not like an erotic thriller, but is that kind of like want to be a bit gone girly, and it's insane, and she's not good. Yeah, that's a classic Razzie nom. I feel like. And then we have the winner, Tyler Perry, Boo to a Medea Halloween as Mabel Medea Simmons.
I've not seen Boo 2. I like how a man won Worst Actress this year again.
Well, we had Eddie Murphy not too long ago, and
It's a recurring theme of black men
winning
Worst Actress. I hate Medea films. I've seen a couple of the early ones.
why have you seen a couple if you hate them?
Because it's hate watching. It was
Okay, fair
the
enough.
same reason I've watched the Emoji Movie, or you've seen it once and a half. Again, they're the early ones, and they've gone out my brain. I really dislike them, and they're not for me, and I don't know how they keep getting sequels. But I'm glad to see him win a Razzie.
Yeah, I've only seen, I think it's a Medea Funeral. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I've seen one of them, and yeah, I can understand why, even if I don't necessarily agree with the categorization. So, worst supporting actor, we then have Anthony Hopkins, Collide, and Transformers: The Last Night as Hagen Cal and Sir Edmund Burton. Yeah, fair enough. I haven't seen Collide, but this was a sketchy part in Hopkins' career where he was just kind of doing things for a paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a long period of his career as well. Like, it's the resurgence and renovation of his career now. But I always go from Red Dragon. That's the first rough performance. I'm here for a paycheck, and
I've won an Oscar. You guys know how good I can be. I can't be bothered doing that again.
So yeah, probably fair.
And then we have Josh Duhamel in Transformers: The Last Night as Colonel William Lennox. I can't really remember that, but I feel like if you're just doing a military guy in Transformers, how do you really stand out opposite Mark Wahlberg?
It's just to fill up and give a Transformers another nom.
Yeah. Russell Crowe, The Mummy, as Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Which is what? I didn't know. This is the crossover, isn't
it? He's in it and he's English and he's doing that great accent, so probably deserved.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, he's kind of ropey and just the film doesn't really know what to do with him. And then we have Javier Bardem for Mother and Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales as him and Captain Armando Salazar. Okay. I thought he was in the sequel. I thought Salazar's Revenge was the...
Maybe he's introduced just like Henry Jekyll. I don't know. Yeah. I guess that's just a double down. I don't know what he's in. I can't remember it. He doesn't deserve it for Mother, though. He's not the best part of Mother. He doesn't do much, to be fair. That's, like you said, it's carried by Jennifer Lawrence. But yeah, no, I disagree half of this, but maybe he's fucking terrible, and Dead Man's Chest Tell No Black Pearls or whatever.
Yeah, okay, so apparently I've just seen a little subnote here, which is Mr. Razzi's got some hilarious in-jokes. It's referred to as Pirates of the Caribbean 13 Dead Careers Tell No Tales on the official nominations list. And Transformers.
He's a smart, witty man, isn't he? Like,
well, it gets worse. Transformers is referred to as Transformers 17 Last Night on the official nominations. You couldn't even come up with like a funny pun referring to last night.
If only there was something similar, that was hugely popular.
I'm just wondering, I'm like, okay, 2017, I'm trying to think if Salazar's Revenge, have I dreamed Salazar's Revenge? Does that exist? Is Salazar's Revenge maybe the title for this in America? Have I invented a sixth Pirates of the Caribbean film? Anyway, let us know, listeners, because we don't have internet. Then worst supporting actor, the winner is Mel Gibson for Daddy's Home 2 as Kurt Mayron.
So I have no comment here. I can't imagine Mel Gibson's putting his best performances in Daddy's Home 2.
He's not, but he does kind of have like juice in the tank from not having worked for like a decade. I think this is probably just like he is an anti-Semite and a abhorrent individual.
So that's how we get back at him. He wins a Razzie. That's justice is served.
Yes, exactly.
Cosmic universe.
Yeah, exactly. Balance is returned. Yeah, like I don't think he is. He's not worse than Russell Crowe, certainly. And then we have worst supporting actress, Susan Sarandon in A Bad Mom's Christmas as Isis Dunkler.
Never even heard of it.
Goldie Hawn in Snatched as Linda Middleton.
No comment.
Snatched is the Amy Schumer one where they get snatched.
No, I haven't.
In South America or something.
Yeah, I've only seen one Amy Schumer film, Trainwreck.
Yeah,
that's
the best one.
The best
the
one.
only one that's really worth watching, I think.
So yeah, I've got no comment on this.
That's a bad movie. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't picked up more nominations. Then we have Laura Haddock, Transformers The Last Night as Vivian Wembley. What a name. Zero recollection of her. I'm assuming she's playing 2017's Megan Fox. Mm-hmm. But yeah, not bad enough to have left an impression in the half of the movie I saw. Then we have Sophia Boutella in The Mummy as Amanette. Which, this is just going to be me talking to myself, I realise.
Once it gets back to Mother.
Yeah. She's pretty bad. Yeah, all nominations for The Mummy kind of deserved. And the winner is Kim Basinger, 50 Shades Darker as Alina Lincoln, aka Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah. I remember from the first film briefly, right?
Is she in it?
Yeah, the mum, right? No,
she's the guy who molested him. Like,
that's
I have unconventional desires.
Yeah, I remember you telling me it now.
Molested by Mrs. Robinson.
So is that a worthy winner?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am mighty surprised Kristen Wiig isn't here for Mother, because that is probably the only nomination. And I'm a big fan of Kristen Wiig and I love Mother, but it's very jarring and throws me when she's machine gunning, headshotting people. Yeah. It's a weird performance from her.
Yeah.
And that's one I would have thought would have been a nomination, but maybe he hasn't fucking watched the film because he's a dirty hack. So whatever.
What's your opinion on Kim Basinger? In a wider sense, have you seen her in other stuff?
Yeah, I haven't seen her probably much post-millennium.
Yeah. So
I can't say which is like in 2017. I feel that's a big difference from like 1986.
From Batman.
Yeah. Don't love her. Don't particularly have any strong opinions either way, though. Yeah. I do love Batman.
Okay, worst screen combo. Tyler Perry and either the ratty old dress or worn out wig. Boo to Medea Halloween.
The shittiest nomination.
Person and clothes they wear. Yeah. Johnny Depp and his worn-out drunk routine, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. At least, I agree. Jack Sparrow is worn out, but like you've nominated him as an actor
for that
that's
reason.
covered.
Yeah, that is that reason. That's not a combo. Like, he is a worn-out drunk. You can't separate that from him.
Any combination of two humans, two robots, or two explosions. Transformers: The Last Night. He just does that every single year.
It's so lazy. It's the fucking laziest.
Any combination of two characters, two sex toys, or two sexual positions. 50 Shades Darker. Again, he's just done it again.
And how can you have a combination of two sexual positions?
Exactly. And like two characters. Like, no, really, it should be Anna and Christian. That's the real. And then worst screen combo, as we know, any two obnoxious emojis. So within context, maybe seems a little bit better, but
Yeah.
Okay, we have worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. Transformers: The Last Night. Yeah, like it's kind of come full circle where like I dislike the Transformers franchise, but by this point there's been so many of them it ground me into submission. Getting annoyed about Transformers in 2017 just seems a little bit passé. The Mummy, I think that's a funny one because of the Dark Universe thing.
Yes.
And also like it was a sequel to the beloved iconic Brendan Fraser, Stephen Sommers mummies.
Is that a sequel or not a remake?
No, a remake. Sorry, yeah, it's not.
He's not playing. No.
He doesn't turn up.
No, don't get my hopes up.
Boo 2, a Medea Halloween. Whatever, if you're gonna get mad about the Medea Halloweens, if you're gonna get mad about the Medea movies, you're gonna get mad a lot.
Yes.
Baywatch, yeah, I would kind of agree with him here because it's taking like there's no reason this couldn't just be a comedy about lifeguards. They just want to borrow the IP of Baywatch to give it a bit more
It was very
weight.
fashionable at the time as well, like 2017.
Yeah. 50 Shades Darker won, which like winning for a sequel, I guess.
I think the Emoji Movie got robbed of this category because it's a rip-off of, like you said, Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out, Tron for moments for me because I'm a fucking old man. Yeah, like that was a blatant rip-off.
I was just about to say that this seems like it's hard because like how do you judge them? Like do you judge them just on the film or do you judge them on the lack of originality? Yeah. Because if it is the latter, then Emoji Movie has this.
Absolutely.
And then worst screenplay: Transformers: The Last Night, Art Markham, Matt Holloway, Ken Nolan, and Akiva Goldsman, based on the toys by Hasbro. Transformers screenplay, done that to death. The Mummy: David Koepp, Christopher McQuarrie. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
he
it was
wrote
this
on
way
it.
McConaughey, yeah.
Dylan Cussman, John Spates, Alex Kurtzman, and Jenny LeMay, based on the horror movie franchise. So a lot of big screenwriting names there. Yeah. McQuarrie, Koepp, Spates, Kurtzman, they're all names I'm familiar with.
5 writers as well as
Yeah. And it's a mess. It seems like 5 different movies. 50 Shades Darker, Niall Leonard, based on the novel by E.L. James. So she didn't actually get a credit, but presumably Niall Leonard is more content to keep sections of the book verbatim. Yeah, the movies get worse as they go on.
Yep.
And then we have Baywatch, Damien Shannon, Mark Swift, Jay Sherrick, David Ron, Thomas Lennon, and Robert Ben Garant, based on the TV series. Yeah, it's again, if you've got like 6 people and you can't come up with one decent set piece between you in your comedy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's passed about and I can see the script has been passed about. Add your little bit and fuck it.
Yeah. So, and then the winner, the Emoji Movie, well deserved. Yep. Then we have this category, the Razzie nominee, So Rotten You Loved It, Transformers: The Last Night, no, The Mummy, no, 50 Shades Darker, no, the Emoji Movie, no, and the winner is Baywatch.
Yeah.
I have no idea why you introduced this category.
I just said it before, yeah. It's a fucking stupid cat. It defeats the purpose of the Razzies. You can't imagine it in the Oscars, you know. A film so good you fucking hated it.
Imagine if at the Oscars they somehow gave an award to like Zack Snyder's Justice League or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? Imagine if they did that. Yeah, so I can understand certain years you might want to do that.
Well, there's
this year.
That's what there's films there's the Cocktails.
Yeah,
there's,
it's
I know
okay for us to do it,
but they're not like when you're basing
it's our word to make fun of you. No, Mr. Razzie, we need that category.
You're just shooting your own fucking ceremony in the foot, and
yeah,
it wins the Razzie Award for worst fucking category in my head.
It's just so fucking bizarre because all of these movies are just so. They're meh. Like you said, this is the meh year.
Yep.
They suck. And like none of them are entertainingly bad. They're all just middle of the road.
I wouldn't want to watch any of them.
Yeah. And then we have the Barry L. Bumstead Award for Chips. So this has come up before and we skated over it.
It's the award that isn't eligible.
Yeah, so the Barry L. Bumstead is the Kyle Award for movies.
What happens to this fucking award, Mr. Razzie? Yeah. Conveniently forget about that, don't you? I haven't seen Chips though, so okay. I can't comment on it. But
neither have I.
When you're in a category of one as well in an award, like fuck yourself, like
yeah. And then this is the most cringe nonsense. This is the most. This is another low watermark for the Razzies. The Razzie Redeemer Award, a safe Hollywood haven from a history of Razzie-worthy behaviour unfitting for an industry of artists, to where talent is protected, nourished, and allowed to flourish with proper compensation. So
That's what Predator would say, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. This is like a Joss Whedon apology.
Male feminist here.
Yeah, like,
And especially the irony of doing this before the Bruce Willis fucking, where you are not protecting, nourishing, and allowing him to flourish. Oh, go fuck yourself. That gives me red flags so much.
Yeah, exactly. This is like an I'm not like other guys. Yeah, you're safe with me. This is just so, like, it's so nice guy. It's like, again, the sentiment of, like, can't take issue with the sentiment. Absolutely not.
No,
but, like, what's he... The Redeemer Award. So normally it's something bad that becomes something good. So he's saying, like, from a history of Razzie-worthy behaviour. Rape is Razzie-worthy behaviour? Is that what you want to be associating your ceremony with, Mr. Razzie?
It's a good thing rape's never going to happen in Hollywood again. Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
like-
It's a beautiful place now.
Like,
It's just,
Razzie-worthy behaviour. That's just like the like, oh, Hitler, he was a bit of a stinker, isn't it? It's like, I don't think that's severe enough, Mr. Razzie, for what you're trying to condemn here.
I actually quite like the Razzie Redeemer Award as well. It gives it's a nice little sentimental thing where you can go, like, we dunked on you for so long, but you've done a Creed, you've done a Top Gun, whatever, you've done something that's turned you around, but no, what a fucking joke.
Yeah, and so is he saying that he's like an industry of artists where talent is protected and nourished and allowed to flourish with compensation? So he's saying, like, well, job done, we fixed it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so glad no one's ever getting molested or, you know.
Like, we've had Me Too, we've had Time's Up, women are paid equally, like, is this round about the Oscars so white thing?
Yeah.
Like, this
It's a good thing we've got boys like Joss Whedon and
Yeah.
Justin Roiland and all these
Kevin
guys.
Spacey's
These guys are all going to keep us forward. Oh my god.
Like, it's just, this is so embarrassing. It's just absolute tone deaf nonsense. So, yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. I didn't expect that. I actually got quite, because I don't get worst original song. I don't get the favourite category. So, no.
This is just the most embarrassing. And who does he present this to? Mr. Weinstein, here you go. We
The
fixed
Hollywood
the
sign,
industry.
yeah.
Absolute fucking disgrace. Okay, well, that concludes another episode. 2017 is done and dusted. It is in the bin. It's been deleted along with High Five, Pam, Gene, James Corden, whatever he's called. So, thank you very much for gracing us
thank
on
you
the
very much for
podcast,
joining
Cieran.
us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Do you have anything that you would like to plug while you're on the podcast, speaking to our listenership of 5 people?
I'm no longer in the podcasting game, so I don't have any such podcasts to promote. All I'll plug is, I don't know, I guess go and support your independent cinemas that are still open in this country.
Yeah. Because that's where you're jetting off to. So if people are wondering why Cieran disappeared for the second half and wasn't there to give us his opinions on The Mummy and 50 Shades Darker, it's because you're going off to fight for Aberdeen's independent cinema. Yeah. While me and Kyle are sat on our ass.
Well, you and Kyle are the people who went more often than I did.
Like, you know what? We need to get another Cineworld here. That's what Aberdeen really needs.
They didn't show the Emoji Movie though, so they deserve.
They could have had their slice of that 217 million. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Again.
It has been a pleasure having you on the show. And listeners, if you want to hear more, then follow us on social media where we are watching Worst on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, anything that's on Alex's phone, you can find us there. Not Parler, but follow us there. If you want to leave us a review, if you want to email us, we are watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. So get in touch there. Send us your favorite emojis. Send us your love letters, then delete them. Send them to the trash with James Corden and whatever.
You can hang on to the dick pics. Don't need to send those.
Exactly. Keep those to yourselves. That just leaves us with next week's episode. So it's been weird given that we've had these unexpected specials with the Darren Doan interview and the reaction to the Razzies.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite know what to do really, but
It threw me off as well. Like, just because, you know, from you're going beat to beat.
Yeah.
I kind of was getting into that groove of the special as well. So
Yeah.
when my schedule or whatever is thrown off, I am out of a loop as well. So
I'm very resistant to change. So we had it all planned out. So we're going for what could arguably be our third consecutive special, but is the first like official legit special, and it's going to be coming to you on Valentine's Day. So what better film to cover than Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day.
So yeah, we're going to be watching that, which is, I'll need to look up what you call these movies. Like there's a word for them. Those sort of like Love Actually, New Year's Day, where it's like several interlocking or not interlocking narratives set around a single day. We're going to be watching that one with the all-star cast. Ashton Kutcher, Taylor Swift, Taylor Lautner.
All my favorites.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. I've not seen any of these. I know of these New Year's Eve ones and stuff, but
Yeah.
I have no idea. I know why this is made. I know the cynicism in me and why it's a easy cash grab for one day a year. You know,
Yeah.
Halloween on Halloween, you're just wanting to get that perfectly. But I am absolutely blind. If you did not tell me who was in this, I not a clue. Very interesting choice of cast though. I'm sure they're barely in it, but I'm up for it. Something different, and I know nothing about it. Could be fun. Could be shit.
So join us for that next week. Make your plans. You know, like it's Valentine's Day. Whether you're celebrating it with a partner, or whether you're celebrating it solo, like just order in dinner, put on your boombox, and listen to us speak about Valentine's Day.
Sounds great.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you then.
See you then.
Nobody knows the touch screens I've swiped. Nobody knows my screenshots.
Thanks for having me, and make emojis great again.
That's going right at the end.
Use it if you want.